Hello everyone, welcome to my garden. We've had a lot of requests about the arches I use that I support the mesh that keeps the whitefly and the butterflies etc, and also the carrot fly off the carrots. And there's one or two of you want to know how to make it. So it's a very cold day. There's not a lot we can do in the garden. The frost is just beginning to lift and the ground is very sticky, so I thought we'd show you how we make one of the arches that I use to support that mesh, and then we'll also put the top on the raised bed. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Now, because I have to make quite a few of these, I keep a template if you like. This is one that I had right at the beginning, and then I took it apart and used it as a template, so I can do all the other ones off this. So it's just 4 pieces. Now always keep those for doing the templates. The timber we use is just, it's readily available. It's from the DIY shop. The size is about 4.5 centimeters by 2 centimeters, and they're about 6 feet long or 2 meters long. But why I like it is because I make the crown that goes on the arch. The crown I have for the arch is this one, and I can get 2 out of 1 length. That's the idea. So we can do it like that, and we get 2, we get the top, so we're not wasting too much wood. The middle piece, or the leg if you like, is just a piece with a sharp end to push into the ground. So again, we have a little bit of waste on that one, but we use it on one of the others. So what I do, I mark out that and that there, like that. It doesn't, I shorten this a bit, but it doesn't matter. So I just mark those off, both ends, and then I cut that out with the saw, and cut that out. Using the saw, be careful you don't hurt your fingers with them. And that gives me these. Look, you can see where they've come from. One from there and one from there, like that. You see? So it fits. I put the long screws in to remind me to use longer screws, because I use a shorter screw everywhere else, so that's just to remind me. So that's how you make that side. The other one is to make the 2 legs is there, look, you see, and I just cut those 45. I always use the same angle as what I used on there. It's not a 45, it's a little bit more, but, and then we have a little bit of spare at the end that we can use for one of the top pieces. Okay, so let's clear these out. Now this I put on the top as a support, but I've cut that one this time. It's a little bit thinner, but it doesn't matter. It's just a piece of waste wood I had and I wanted to use it. Okay, so we'll use that one in a moment. So we'll get rid of the templates now, and we'll start assembling. That's the templates now gone. If you can spare the wood and make the templates, it saves you a lot of messing, and then especially if you've got quite a few to make. And if, like me, you can't make them all at once because there are other jobs, so it's as well to have the templates, and it saves time. Okay, right, so we'll get rid of these. These will do for the next arch, but we'll make this one first. Okay, now where the legs meet the top, it'll be clearer soon. I always put a support piece on like that, you see. So again, there's a template for those, and then I cut those out. So that's all the bits cut out. There's the bits I'm going to cut out, so that's all for the next one. So we've cut them out already, so we'll assemble them. So if we go through it, we've got two tops that will go like that, and then two legs. The legs, they're just straight cut and they'll fit straight onto there, you see. And then I just put that screw in and then put the support on like that, just to bridge it. The first thing we'll do is we'll connect the top to the leg. Look, there's the leg. You see? I just make that funny shape because it's a little bit stronger when it's holding in. The other thing you need is a good drill. So I'll turn this over and drill that in for you. Okay. So it's not difficult because I can do it. Right, so in we go, look. That's it. It jumps a little bit. Now, as you can see, I've countersunk the holes so it stops the wood from splitting as well. So we don't want the wood to split. So countersink it with a countersinker on the drill. And I ought to show you one really. There's the countersinker. It just goes on the front of the drill and you just push it into the top where you're going to put the screw, and it makes a nice open piece for it. Right, having done that, we'll do the other one. Again, we'll have it that way so I can do it. There you go. Not the best fit in the world because I'm not a good joiner, but it works, so we'll stick to that. And we'll just tighten that screw in. That's it. Right, so we've got those two on now. See, so we're ready for putting the point on. Before we do that, and I shall want, it's one of those things where you need another hand on these. If you just put that on, but keep it away from the edge so it doesn't snarl the mesh when we put it on. And as you can see, we're doing 3 holes in each, so I just changed this. Right, so we just drop these holes in. Don't go too far in because you want the screw to bite on the other side, okay? You don't really need the pencil marks on it. I just did it to make it look good when I was doing it. Right, then we change to the countersink. This goes in there. Let me just open it up a bit. Yeah, I'm just tightening that on full speed, and then if you just wobble it a bit, look, it makes enough. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it does, it winds the top so the screw will go nicely in. Okay. There you go. Now we change to the screwdriver again. And we'll put the screws in. We use these 1-inch screws. Any bigger than that, they'll come out the other side. So these will do nicely for these. Now I'll do one and then I'll get the other one done, and then we'll start bringing them together. Just get your balance about right, both sides. That was Rodney shouting. And again. Right, and then set to slow drill and just push them in. Look. Just push them in. There is a choke if we wanted to use it, a clutch. Take it down to the clutch. Right, so that's those three on, and that's a nice taut joint nut for you. I'll just do the other one and then we'll bring the other two together then. I've done the legs, the two legs against to the top pieces now. I've countersunk, drilled and got them together. Now we just have to join the two at the top. Make sure when you do it both the supports are on the same side, because you don't want one on one and one on the other. And then we put the top piece, which I've drilled and countersunk ready, save a bit of time to show you. We're going to join the two tops now and then put the screws in, and then about ready for painting, I think. Then let's have a look what we can do then. This is one of those times when you need 4 hands, I'm afraid, but never mind. If you get the joint nicely together, look, like that, doesn't have to be absolutely dead on, and then put the timber on like that, so we're just a little bit under the edge so it doesn't rub too much on your net. Then we'll put the screws in. Not a lot of room for you to see these, but I'll put those 3 in. Can you see now? It's better, this piece of wood. It's a little bit hardwood, I think, and it just holds the top a bit better. And just put those on. Some of the screws are second hand, but so slow speed again, clutch on. And then that one. Let the drill do the work. And another one. And another one if you can get it straight, that's it. That's it, all nice and proud, nothing to catch in your mesh when you put it on. As you can see, we've got the supports on now, on the timbers, all nice and firm. We just need now to measure off on the bottom and put 2 little bits, and I'll show you why we do those as well as we do it, okay? Now, when you're pushing it in the ground all the time from one to another, you need to be all at the same sort of depth. So I put a little piece of wood on there. They're only offcuts, as you can see, that I've saved, and I put those on. So now if I push it into the ground that much, which is pre-measured to all of them, and then they're all the same distance in the ground, so if your ground's reasonably level, they'll all sit the same, so you're not going up and down the rows lifting them to level them out. Okay, so we'll just pop those in. We ought to countersink that. They haven't been, oh they have. I'll just pop these in. I've countersunk them because they're only a small piece of wood and don't want to split them. So just nice and steady in. Oh, that's jumping, never mind. And that one. That's fine. Now we'll do the other one. Which is there. So I shall, there you go, it's all pre-measured so we don't have to mess with it. Nice and steady in. Try not to make your drill spin too fast or else it will jump out of the screw, out of the screw head. Just nice and steady. And that, and there you go. When I put these across the garden, I have usually 4 spaced on the across the garden, and then I hammer a support on each end frame just to stop it pulling in, to keep it nice and firm on the outside. It's literally one of these. I just hammer it in the ground and cut it off level and pop a screw in it just to hold it, to make the tripod so it holds at each end. Then I put a wire around the top. This, the only thing I do now is drill a hole in each one so I can thread the wire through, then over the top and to each one, so it turns on the top of each arch, so it stops it from wobbling about. I'll be able to show you that when we're actually building them down the garden. Just put your hands around. If you feel any rough or sharps, take them off with a bit of sandpaper. But that's now ready for painting. I also find that that little, this that we put on for the depth of the soil we're putting it into, so that's the depth gauge if you like. As you're going down, if it gets a bit tough, you can always put your foot on it and give it a push. So I find that easier, especially in this old clay. But that's your arch. It will need painting. It's only softwood, so you can put some wood preserve on it, or I use this green paint, garden paint. This is as good as anything. It's cheap and cheerful, and it works. That's the thing. It stops the water getting into your timber. So that's that done. So I hope that's helped some of you how to make them. And we will need some wire. It's just plastic coated wire, and then I put the mesh over it, and it works very good. I pin the mesh into the soil as you've seen when we've been doing them. That's it, that's the arch. Okay, I hope that's helped. But we're just on our way down to put the top on the raised bed. I thought I'd stop and just show you at the finished arch when it's in up there. Can you see where I put this in? I put the leg in to hold it firm, and the wire at the top and there, bottom. But because this one was put in for winter, I put an extra wire underneath it, and that holds nicely. It's gone through all the gales and everything. That's the other way of doing it, which, as you can see, whichever one you want to do you can do, but I think I prefer these arches, more room. This is the raised bed, one of them, and I'm going to put a frame on the top of each. Now I've actually done, the only thing I've really done is put these hinges on the bottom. The idea is when we want to really work the frame, we can tip the whole of the top up away so we can work in the frame and then put the frame back on. I'll show you that hopefully when it's finished. Now the ground is very, very sticky, so do bear with us. The frost is just beginning to lift out the ground and it's terribly cold, but we'll get on the best we can. I've cut out the places where the hinges will go and put a little bit of wood preserver on it. That was in the shed. So now then, let's see what we can do. Right, so I'm just assembling the frame now on top of the raised bed. Let's see how we get on. I have drilled everything and countersunk it, so it should be all right. Now I have another one to build, so if you want to know how I do all this, let me know and I'll do a breakdown for you, actually building the frame in the shed before we bring it down. So I'll pop these in. Nice and firm. Right, we put the centres on. That's fine. As you can see, the digging of the old Brussels patch hasn't progressed much just this last week. It's been so frozen I can't even get the fork in the ground to turn it. So the digging sort of progressed to there, and this is still in the waiting. But as you can see on our feet, it's the frost is just starting to lift and it is really slippery, so I don't really want to walk too much on the garden. I'm just sticking to round the frames. So this is another one of those where you need an extra pair of hands, but my assistant is on the camera today, so I'll have to do it best I can. Okay, nice and steady. That's enough in there. There we go. Right, I shan't put any more in for a second. I just want to see if it fits. Yes, that fits, so we'll screw that down. Not tighten them up too much. And we'll pop the other top on. Right, so that's that one. That's fine. I put the rest of the screws in later, but I'll just show you the idea now. So it's ready for putting the mesh. I use the same mesh as we've used on the thing, and I'm going to put hasp and staple on there, so that can be shut down, and also another one here. So when we've got quite a bit of work to do and setting in the frame, I can lift the whole lot up using those two hinges there. That can be propped up while we do the work, then brought down, and easy work in there for when they're growing. I will, I think, have to put another piece in the centres of these lids, and of course a 90-degree, because these have only got one screw in yet. I'll have to do that in a minute, and a corner piece on just to hold them square. But that is how we would do the frame tops. I don't know if you can remember the original ones. I did quite high, and I found that I wouldn't be able to get into them if there was any higher, so that's about as high as I dare go. And there's enough room in there because we're mainly carrots, etc. that will go in. So there you are. That'll be the frames to go on top of the raised beds. Obviously there'll be a handle for lifting it. But now I shall make the next one. We'll probably assemble the next one together so you can actually see it being made. But I literally, that is the first time it's been on, so I had my fingers crossed that it was going to work, but so it did, and I'm quite happy with that. It's a very, very cold day. The cold, you can feel it coming in now. So that'll be it for this week. I hope you do have a go at building a frame out of the way we do it. It's quite simple, and the arches to cover your crops, they're well worth it, I can show you. So that'll be it for this week. Thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and hopefully we'll see you next week. Bye.